start, but I think we'll be okay. It is light rain and 50 degrees right now at 28 minutes after 12 o'clock on this Throwback Thursday afternoon, and it's time now for Community Comment. We head down to the Daily Dodge TV studio, and joining us right now is Kevin Hogan.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Welcome into today's Community Comment. I'm your host, Kevin Haugen. It is my pleasure to welcome our guest on today's program, Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rosh. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
And don't forget, you can also head to Daily Dodge TV on YouTube. We are streaming there if you want to check us out in person and watch us versus listening to us on 95.3 WBEV. But we have a lot to get to on today's program. First of which, I want to ask you, Chief, it's been about 2 months since you were sworn in as the full-time chief, was interim chief for a little while when the former chief announced that he was retiring, Scott Loudon. But how has that initial time frame gone, being the top cop here in Waupun?
Yeah, it's been busy, definitely been busy. So, I was put into the interim police chief position back in December, and in February I was appointed chief. And, when you do that, you also have to backfill other positions that come along with that. And so I've been kind of doing two jobs for a period of time, and so it's been kind of like bouncing around like a pinball. I like to kind of explain it. Early in the week, it's you're busy as can be, and you're trying to play catch up. And by Friday, it feels kind of good that you got some things accomplished. But I think the morale of our department has been increasing. There's some changes that we've been doing and some things that we want to continue to work on as a department.
Now you have, we talked a little bit about this before coming on air and streaming here this afternoon, that you've been with the Waupun Police Department for your entire career. And so do you feel like that has given you a good leg up in terms of taking over that department and now being the man in charge?
Yeah, I've been there over 22 years, which is, half my life. And I knew the operations inside and out. So I think I had that leg up on, being able to take over kind of seamlessly. And I believe I had the respect from the department, the staff, and also the community that we serve.
Fantastic. Again, we're chatting with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rosh here on Community Comment. If you have a question for the chief, you can call into the program at 887-9595. That's also our text line. If you wanted to shoot us a text, then I can ask the chief a question on air, or you can also call 885-4446 to get on the program this afternoon. But Chief, I want to start our in-depth conversation here this afternoon, talking about department updates and where things are currently at with the Waupun Police Department when it comes to staffing, mission, vision for the agency. Just where are things currently at with the Waupun Police Department?
Yeah, and there's been some exciting things that have happened and some promotions of some great people. Initially in January already, we promoted Lieutenant Trevor Kreisman to lieutenant. He was an officer for many years for us, and he was actually a lieutenant for a couple years prior, but it's great to get him back into that lieutenant role. He is a solid employee that has a lot of knowledge, a 20-year staff member, and very excited for him and to have him back as a supervisor with our department. Additionally, Ted Sullivan, he was our lieutenant of investigation. So Ted's been around for, I think he's in his 28th year of law enforcement. He worked at Dodge County for many, many years and rose through the ranks, starting off as, a deputy reserve, and then went into the jail, and then ultimately patrol investigations, and then came over to us a little over 4 years ago. And he's been doing a fantastic job, and he was recently promoted last month to deputy chief. So currently we have a lieutenant of investigation job open, and we're in a process right now for that, and hopefully that process will be completed by the end of May, I'm thinking.
Fantastic. Now, maybe real quick, you spend a minute talking about those promotions. How important is it for a police department to be able to promote from within and hire and promote people who have been with the agency for a long time and have that knowledge and understanding of what it takes to do the job, and just from how important that is for continuity for your agency.
Right. It's huge for continuity, for cohesiveness. I think if you have the right person that is qualified, that has the respect of the others that will ultimately work for them, that's what I see really benefits it. Lieutenant Kreitzman and Deputy Chief Sullivan have the respect of the officers, the staff, and the community. So to me, it was a no-brainer to put those guys into those positions.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you also want to look at, you mentioned there's a lieutenant position that is currently open that you're looking at filling. What else are you guys looking to fill out your staff? What's the staffing levels currently at the Waupun Police?
Sure. Besides that position, we're hiring for patrol officer. We have a open process going right now that probably will be completed sometime in May as well. We can hire up to 2. But I have a prospective candidate, down the road that we might be able to get as well. So we need at least 1 currently, because ultimately we can't train as many people that we're going to need to train here in the next upcoming months. Currently, I have 3 officers in training in Police Academy. So 2 of them are going to come out in May. And then go into our field training program, which will last through the summer. And then we have another officer in training in the academy that will finish up probably end of July. So we're looking, mid-fall before he's trained up and on the road. So it's exciting. There are 3 good candidates and three people that have a military background, which also brings leadership. It brings, people that want to serve the community. They want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. So, when I saw those 3 candidates coming through, we said we need these guys.
Yeah. Now, we talk about anytime we have a fire chief, police chief, even with the members of the sheriff's office come on community comment, I feel like a topic of conversation that we always routinely bring up is staffing and hiring and get people to come on board. Has it been a challenge, and it's been a conversation also too with these other agencies, that it's been a challenge to find qualified and interested individuals to apply and take these jobs? Is that the same case that you found yourself in, Waupun?
Yeah, it's like every other profession, I think. And I've talked to some chiefs from bigger departments recently, one up in the valley. They had 6 officers that up and left and went into the private sector. So you're not only seeing officers transfer to other police departments or sheriff's offices, you're seeing them get out of our profession in general. So that's part of the challenge. So everybody's hiring, everybody's trying to get the same people, in essence, to come to their door and ultimately to stay and to retain those people. So it's all about the people. If we get good people, we want to keep them, and that's the goal.
Yeah, what is words of wisdom or encouragement for maybe those people out there who are, maybe still in college or in high school, who are looking at potentially going into law enforcement as a career path, and something that you would tell them in terms of saying that this is a rewarding career, this is something that you should look into and follow up on, and I know it's a lot of time and effort. There's schooling, there's classes that you have to go through, but it is a rewarding experience. What's something that, in terms of your own experience, that you could pass along to those maybe looking at this as a career choice?
Yeah, and I think not only the kids that are in high school or the young adults graduating from college, maybe people that want to change a career, now's the time to do it. If, one of the guys that I have in the academy, he's over 40 years of age, but he's a great person. He's got all that life experience that we need. I like candidates with life experience. But what I look at, why did I get into law enforcement? I got into law enforcement because I wanted to be out and about. I wanted every day to be a little bit different. I wanted to make a difference, but I didn't necessarily want to sit behind a desk, my entire work day. Now, it's kind of changed a little bit as I become chief. I sit behind the desk a little bit more than I have in the past, but I still enjoy going out and helping out when and where I need to. But it's just that you're working with other people to meet a common goal, to support the community and help the community grow and help the community succeed and be a safe place. And that's another one of our goals. We're consistently in the top 20 safest cities in Wisconsin, and it's not just because we're a good police department. It's because the people, the citizens, the business owners in Waupun call the police when they need our assistance. If something doesn't look right, they call. And that's how we deter crime from coming to our city.
And it's always, anytime those lists come out, every time I read them, I'm always surprised. Not because Waupun doesn't, deserve to be that high up, and the work that's done. It's, people hear Waupun, they hear prison city, they hear all the state prisons that are located in such a small area. But there really is a focal point and an effort, like you mentioned. It takes everyone in the community to play their part to keep everyone safe, and you guys certainly do everything you can to help out in that. But it takes community members calling in and reporting things to help out on that front.
Right, and I think doing the small things, sometimes people might say, oh, they're just pulling a traffic stop. But a traffic stop can lead to, some pretty high crime type situations and investigations. Recently, Dodge County made a traffic stop in the city of Waupun and pulled a pretty substantial amount of narcotics off the street. And we're seeing in our region pretty substantial narcotic numbers and arrests that do have ties back to Mexico and China and things like that. A lot of that stuff's going through the mail now or different courier systems. So, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to circling back to staffing and hiring, is there a place that somebody can go to, if they're looking at, finding out more about opening, say, within the Waupun Police Department? Is there a website or a number they can call to get more information?
Yeah, you can always go to waupunpd.org. You can go to cityofwaupun.org. And then, for those going into law enforcement, there's a state site called WileyNet that the Wisconsin Department of Justice has, and it has all law enforcement jobs listed in there. If that's typically where we put our advertisements, and along with on our Facebook page, if we do have an open position, we try and get that out there and promote it.
We're talking with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rosh here on Community Comment. Again, if you have a question, you can call in at 885-4446, or you can call or text 887-9595. There's an important date here coming up next weekend that we want to highlight here on our program today for those who have excess medications, prescriptions, anything in their households that they don't want lying around and want to get rid of. There's an opportunity to get rid of those around the county, around the state coming up next weekend.
Yeah, it's the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. It's April 27th, 2024. Now, in Waupun, we don't have just a specific date. We have a collection box inside our police department. There's also one at Waupun Memorial Hospital. So anybody can come daytime. If you have to come in the evening, an officer will have to open up the door for you to get into our lobby. But we collect throughout the year. So ultimately what happens is, from around our state, we collect all this medication and the Department of Justice ends up transporting it. So there's different regions in the state. So we go to the drop-off location, and the DOJ basically fills a huge box truck full of prescription medications. It's kind of impressive how many boxes they can fit in this, and then they take it to an incinerator over I believe it's in Barron County, Wisconsin. I think it's the only one in the state, and then everything gets incinerated. But the interesting thing too is, from year to year, Wisconsin is collecting an unbelievable amount of prescription medications. Compared to most other states, we are typically in the top 3 in the country, and for our population, that is just
I mean,
astronomical.
We're competing with California, the larger cities and states around the country.
Right.
Wisconsin is routinely ranked up atop with those with the drug take back day.
Right, and we're talking upwards of 100,000 pounds that we collect in the state of Wisconsin. So that's good. We're doing a good job. We've had these take-back boxes throughout both Dodge and Fond du Lac County for many years. I've been a part of the drug-free communities in Fond du Lac County and the Allies for Substance Abuse in Dodge County, and that was kind of a big push, early on to get these things out there. And I think we're doing an excellent job. So some of the locations, if you're not aware, you can go to dhs.wisconsin.gov and look for those locations. But locally, I said Waupun Police Department has one, Beaver Dam Police Department has one, Dodge Sheriff's Office, Juneau, Mayville, Columbus, Horicon, Lomira. So that's just to name some of them in Dodge County. And if you're up in the Fond du Lac area, it's most of the police departments in the Fond du Lac County area.
Yeah, and there's no charge to drop these off. You take them to the locations you described, put them in a bag, and good
that's
to go.
it. Yeah, and take your name off your pill bottles too, especially when you throw your pill bottles away.
Right.
You don't want that information out there.
Yeah, and maybe spend a few minutes talking about why it is important that we have these drug take-back days, or why drug boxes are something that exists in police agencies, hospitals. Why is it so important that these prescription and medications get dropped off?
Well, we all know that opiates and opioids are, problematic once they get into the hands of, the wrong people or people that may need them, may end up abusing them, and we commonly respond to overdoses. Last year alone in the city of Waupun, we had 5 overdose deaths, which is kind of high for us. Back in 2015, we had a pretty big spike as well. But, we don't want these medications in the hands of our children. We don't want to. A lot of times medications get stolen too, or they get reported stolen, and then where do they end up? Well, they end up either being resold or used illegally.
Yeah, it's just a great way to clean up that system of, somebody has a prescription that people know how to transform into more illicit substances and make it more harmful to people, and that they are able to, they heard through a friend of a friend that their aunt has a couple extra pills lying around, and they go in and can easily get those and steal them and do more harm with those. So these days are a great opportunity to make sure that these are off the street and disposed of in the proper way.
Right, disposed of in the proper way, and generally we're disposing of about 80 pounds a year just out of our office in Waupun.
Is it? I know that this is maybe beyond the scope of our conversation, but there's always the topic when this conversation particularly comes up with overprescribing, and I know that's kind of an issue that I don't know if that's something that you've been following closely or have any inputs on, but I know that's been a problem with just the amount of drugs that are out and available, with how easy they are to get nowadays.
Yeah, and I think they were even easier probably 10, 15 years ago when the crisis really started happening. But an interesting stat is there's over 2.9 million opioid prescriptions are written every year in Wisconsin. And how many people are in Wisconsin?
Not that many.
5 million, maybe?
Yeah.
So
it's the numbers are very it's alarming when you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
Again, we're chatting with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rosh here on Community Comment this afternoon. Another important topic that we want to hit on and spend a few minutes talking about is traffic safety. Really, when it seems like, again, another topic that we have talked extensively about with previous agencies and law enforcement officers is wrong-way drivers. I know that there was a report that came out that the state is among the leaders in wrong-way driving crashes, fatalities, and that's something that's been an issue. Is this something that you've seen as an issue in Waupun lately? Yeah,
on 151, we've seen it lately. Last year we had a wrong-way driver fatal crash. Our officers respond out there. Often we assist the sheriff's department when there's a major crash on one of the local highways, and so we've seen it. and we are dispatched through Fond du Lac County, so we hear all the wrong way drivers on 41, on Highway 26, Highway 23, so they're out there. But the dangerous ones are state or U.S. Highway 151 and then Interstate 41. I mean, the speeds are a lot faster, and you're just not expecting somebody to be in the opposite lane.
Yeah, and it's one thing that, especially late at night when it's, you're maybe not paying close attention to the road. I know that some of the, whether it be maybe painting signs on the roadways, saying this is an off ramp versus an on ramp, that sort of a thing to help people notice those differences so that doesn't keep happening. But what are some of the things that you as a police chief are focusing on or making a priority to help improve traffic safety and help make roads safer out in Waupun?
Yeah, I think it comes back to our county as a whole. So I'm on the board for the Dodge County Traffic Safety Commission, and we meet quarterly and we discuss traffic safety issues, fatal crashes. Is there things that we can do, not only as law enforcement, there's other people on this board, including DOT, fire, EMS, educators, the DA's office. So we look at these problem areas where we're seeing fatal crashes. Is there signage that we can put up? Can we paint things? Can we, is it operator error? A lot of it, or is it impairment? And a lot of times it is impairment or operator error, but there are some improvements that we can make. And I think with the wrong way drivers, we've been talking about at the on and off ramps, painting on the roadway. Maybe that will gain someone's attention because it's paint. It's not expensive, and maybe that will gain their attention so they don't get on the wrong way, and maybe that will help. That's just one of the options. So we continue to talk about safety measures that we can implement, and there's a lot of regulations by the DOT and by the Highway Department that they have to follow, so we understand that, but it seems like it's becoming more and more of a problem with the wrong way drivers. Yeah. But as far as what we do is we like to participate in traffic safety grants. So if you're not aware of traffic safety grants, it's federally funded. Both the Dodge County Sheriff's Office and the Fond du Lac County Sheriff's Office kind of organize these, and then they push out grant dates to our department and all the other departments within the county. And we kind of saturate the county and slow people down, have them follow the laws appropriately, wear their seatbelt. And, does it help? I think it helps. You have more of a presence. People are likely going to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's really at times just about visibility.
Yeah.
It's just getting out on the road and making your presence known. I know sometimes, again, that comes down to staffing, like we talked about earlier, how many people you have available to make that happen. But making yourself known and that you're out around, driving around. That's a good reminder for people. I know when I see a cop car driving by on the road, it sort of resets myself to think, all right, how fast am I driving? Am I not paying attention as much as I should be? So it's little things like that. It may not seem like much, but it makes a big difference.
It does, and I do the same thing when I'm in my personal vehicle. I see a police officer. I'm like, quick, check my speed. Yep, I'm good, and then carry on.
Yeah, it's not much, but sometimes it's a reminder to help people pay attention and what they should be doing when they're. Because another big thing too is distracted driving, and we talked about impaired driving, and that's a big one too. But nowadays, with cell phones and phone mounts in cars, it seems like it's easier than ever to get distracted while behind the wheel.
Yeah, and even with law enforcement, you got computers in your car, you got your camera, you got your police radio, you got your music radio. You have all these devices where it's like an office on wheels, but you have to be careful when you're operating those vehicles. You talk about safe driving and distracted driving. There's an app out there that the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin and the Bureau of Traffic Safety is promoting. It's the 100 Safest Days, so it runs between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and it's targeting youth drivers, younger drivers, to try and steer them from being distracted. And it's an app that you can sign up for, and you can gain awards. And if you're driving safely, you can actually win gift cards to local businesses that are paired with this app. So I think that's definitely, a good step in the right direction for something to help. Especially, we're in prom season, and what we're doing locally on pre-prom week, we are doing a mock crash presentation. So it's not just the Waupun Police Department, it's Waupun Fire Department, the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, Lifestar Ambulance, Flight for Life, and the school district. And we haven't done one in a number of years, but we're trying to do one like every 4 years so we can at least get to the students once while they're in their high school age. So that's actually going to be on May 1st. And really what we do is we try to deter impaired driving by the high school age students. And in the past, we've had people come in who were victims, or maybe who were in a crash that actually killed someone and spoke to high school students. So it can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, and is that held at the high school during the day, like an assembly?
It's going to be held at the Waupun High School, and then the CWC students are going to come over too. So we should be reaching, I think, about 750 students.
Wow. And we talk about visibility, one ways to curb this issue, and the few things that Chief, you just mentioned, the app, the mock crash presentation here coming up next week. Another big component of this is education. Is telling everyone involved, there'll be young drivers, even old drivers, middle-aged drivers, everyone really, the dangers and what can happen if you're driving impaired, driving distracted, and not your focus is at 100% on the road. I think sometimes it's easy to forget how severe and how life-changing one simple mistake behind the wheel can be.
Yeah, I mean, even a small crash. So let's say you fail to obey a sign, or a right-of-way, fail to obey a right-of-way. You pull out from a stop sign and collide with another vehicle, and that person has a minor injury. Your license can be suspended just from that. So that's not even, a severe injury or a fatality. So it can change your life for a period of time, because now you got to get an occupational license and pay for that. Your insurance is going to go up. You got to go to driving classes, and just kind of becomes problematic. I knew quite a few people that have had to do that because we've written the crashes, But be safe out there, and if you want some more education on crashes, you can always just Google Community Maps. It's a DOT site, and it's open to the public, and you can search our area anywhere in the state. You can see how many fatalities there are. You can see different class crashes that there are. Last year there was 572 fatalities in vehicle crashes in the state of Wisconsin. That's a lot. And it's continuing to happen, and I believe a lot of it's from distracted driving and impairment.
A little bit earlier, you mentioned some trouble areas, maybe more highways, expressways around Waupun. Are there any areas within the city that is specifically targeted by police as being a problem area that you guys are focusing in on, or want people to remember rules of the road or things to look out for when they get to those spots?
Yeah, for the city of Waupun, a lot of times, we have a lot of parking lot accidents, right? So where more people congregate is typically where there's going to be more crashes. But one intersection that has caused us problems over the years, it's kind of a goofy intersection. It may not create a lot of crashes, but it has the possibility of doing so. So right downtown, Main Street at Fond du Lac Street, it's westbound traffic stops.
I think,
Eastbound traffic on Main does not stop,
Yep.
So it creates some confusion there. But there's some other problematic spots or locations within our area, and kind of an update on that is 151 in County C and 151 in County DE. So C north of Beaver Dam, DE south of Beaver Dam. They've been problematic for years. We've been, as a Traffic Safety Commission, we've been pushing DOT to get projects done. And it looks like, as of today, I looked up on their site, 2025 should be the construction year for both locations. And I believe they're going to do that J-turn switchback and kind of close those locations off where you can't just cut across to 151. So if you're on C, you'd have to go southbound and then do a J-turn switchback. You see that up on Highway 23 east of Fond du Lac, and that used to be, a really bad hot zone for crashes and fatal crashes. And since they've added the 4 lanes up there and the J-turns, they don't have really many issues at all.
And again, if you go to the state transportation website, I'm sure there'll be updates continuously posted on those projects and when things will finally, shovels will be hitting the dirt, and when those project timelines will be made available, and when everything will be done and back to normal.
Back to normal.
All right, well, that just about wraps up our time here with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rosh here on Community Comment. I want to thank our guests one last time for joining us here on the program today.
I appreciate you having us and having me and representing our department and our city.
I'm looking forward to future conversations.
Me as well.
All right, and that will do it for today's Community Comment.